Well, welcome to Rob's Fix-It Shop, outside edition or heavy equipment edition. So I was driving my Bobcat the other day, and this is a Melrose Bobcat from about 1976, 1978, I can't remember. But it's getting kind of older, and but I was using it to move some dirt around, and it just all of a sudden started running kind of rough, right? Just like that. It just was running great, and then all of a sudden, you know, missing on a couple of cylinders, and then just all of a sudden failed. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look, and I don't think it's going to be that complicated, but we'll just take a look and see if we can figure out what the problem is. So right away, when I turn on the key, I mean, it doesn't turn over, and the ammeter does not go on at all, right? And I checked the fuse, and the fuse looks okay, but I'll have to check it with the voltmeter. And you see, yeah, so let's get that back in, right? And so let's turn it on, and I just charged a battery. I thought maybe the alternator wasn't working, and so and the battery just ran low, because sometimes when you get low voltage, it's, you know, the engine will start to run rough and then quit. But yeah, that made no difference. So let's take a look around the back. So now this Bobcat, it had an engine fire that started down. Let me show you where it started. This was a while ago. Right here, this is kind of a main junction spot for a lot of the electrical stuff going on, and there was a fire in here, and it just burned up a whole bunch of stuff. So this entire wiring harness I remade. Okay, so the first thing we want to check is our battery. Let's get our voltmeter on. I mean, I'm sure the battery's fine, but you'd feel pretty stupid if you went through all this and then had nothing in there. Hopefully. Okay, so let's check our battery first. Okay, perfect. All right, so the key's on, so we should be able to see 12 volts on our coil, right? Because the coil, let's see if I can should be able to see 12 volts on the coil, because the coil, the distributor switches to ground, so we should be able to see 12 volts there. Let's see, right here. Okay, we're not seeing anything there. We're not seeing anything there. And this has a resistor in line with the coil, and what the resistor does is when it's cold, it lets more power through the coil, so when you're starting, it really boosts up the output of that coil, and then as soon as you start, the resistor warms up and increases the resistance, and because you don't need as much. But we're getting nothing to there, right? And the key is on, so that's a sign that it's probably up front. Because I think this blue wire here goes right, I think that blue wire here goes right into the harness and then goes up to, let's see if we can look at that. It goes right up to that connector right there. And then from that connector, comes right up into here. And so that we should be getting power from the battery to the key, and then when you turn the key on, it goes through the ammeter, and so we should be seeing everything going through this ammeter. And I don't see that ammeter really kind of moving very much. It could even be the ammeter. I don't know. I've replaced that before, but let's take this off. I just have to take this off, and I have to take this off, and then this whole panel will come down. I mean, my guess is that it's a mouse, right? I do keep this in the garage, but there's a lot of mice out there. So I'm going to pull this bolt out, I'll pull this one out, and then we'll come back. So let me check the key. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Let me check the ammeter. Oh, there we have 12 volts. And then on the other side, look at that, we got 0, right? So that means so there's supposed to be current flow through the ammeter, right? And you can kind of see that you got this big wire coming in, but then a couple of wires coming out. And I think one of those is for the lights and one of them's for the ignition. And let's see if we can jump her from here to here and have some positive behavior. Okay, so I just jumpered across the ammeter. So let's see if we can get something to happen. Okay, so that was it. So our ammeter's belly up. Huh. Well, that's an easy fix. I just got to get another ammeter. So I'll get an ammeter and we'll put this guy back together. All right, well, we just want to make sure that we disconnect the battery before we do this kind of work, right? Because the full power is coming through that connector to the ammeter, so let's get that disconnected. Yeah, there's that wiring harness in there, right here. So everything kind of comes into this spot right here, and I think that's where that fire originated originally. But you can see I've redone this entire harness and I still have the little tags on it. That's a big job if you ever have to do it. So and it's a Clark 632, and my grandpa actually worked for Melro, and the Melro who invented the Bobcat, he lived just about 4 miles from where my grandpa lived, near Sturm, North Dakota. And my grandpa was a welder for a while in Gwinner, North Dakota on Bobcats, and later became a courier, bringing stuff into Fargo to fly out for repairs and stuff like that. But yeah, most people in that area of North Dakota worked for the Bobcat company, and then later Clark bought them out, and then Ingersoll Rand bought them out. But I really like this machine. It's not like the new ones. I mean, the new ones are just so much beefier, and they're safer too, because they have a lot of interlocks on things like the safety belt. I mean, a lot of people get killed on these when they don't have their safety belt on and they roll and they get crushed, because they're not that hard to roll. I've never done it, but yeah, that's interesting. So this Bobcat actually has a Ford industrial engine, and the engine's actually made in England, right? So it's kind of a weird machine. Here you can see where the fire burned off the oil cap or whatever. And you can see where, I redid the wiring harness years ago after the fire. But yeah, so like I say, this Bobcat's from the the mid to late 70s, and it's really hard to get parts for. But like some of the stuff you can get, if you get like a 74 Ford Pinto, a lot of the parts off that will fit this engine. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't use it that much, so I've had it for a long time. I bet I've had it for 20 years, but you do have to kind of keep it up. Okay, so I need to get to, I'm in the middle of the yard right now, so I just connected all 3 of those leads, and that should get me by. I can put it back together and wait until I get an ammeter and put it in, and should be good. And then also, for people interested in physics, if you look down there, I seem to have found a black hole, because it seems that every single tool, bolt, and screw that I took out was magically sucked into that vortex, never to return. So I don't know if you're interested in physics. Well, that's it for Rob's Fix-It Shop Outside Edition, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pretty easy fix, pretty quick debugging, just making sure we had power in all the right places and kind of tracing it back up into here where all the power comes into. Bad ammeter, easy to fix. I'll order one. I just jump ordered for now, but they are kind of nice to have. You can see the charging happen, or if the alternator is not working, you can see that. So I'll get that replaced in good time. And so if you liked the video, please hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.